And welcome to Cache Canada Chats. I'm your host, London Westy, and there is.
Hi, I'm Lyric Glass.
And we have our guest today, RCA77, CacheShadow. CacheShadow, why don't you introduce yourself, because you'll do a lot better job at it than I will.
All right, hello there. So RCA777 is my player name, and I've been playing the game since, I don't know, forever. Seems like a long time, 2007, I think. And I've been a volunteer for geocaching.com as a reviewer for about 10 years now. So I'm in Newmarket, Ontario. I like to find caches, I like to travel and find caches, and I enjoy communicating with the community as much as I can in venues like this.
Nice. Awesome. And what are we doing today? This is something special. It's kind of a special occasion. For the people that aren't from Ontario or from the Ontario Facebook page, what are we in for?
Well, what I like to do now and again is have an open forum in our Facebook group where I simply say, ask a question, get a possibly relevant, maybe accurate answer, because some questions can't always be answered. I may not know, I may not be allowed to divulge the answer, but I'll try and make it semi-entertaining. And usually the feedback is, well, it's overwhelmingly wonderful. So sometimes it can be questions that are on the tip of a new player's tongue and they're not quite sure how to ask it or where to ask it about the game. And sometimes people ask me if I cut my own hair.
And do you?
This is definitely a self-inflicted haircut, but you know, that's what one does, what one can during these times. So we're very glad to be able to interact with the community, and this is an experiment. We'll see how this goes here on the channel.
All right, awesome. So before we go, let's see. Yes, we have a bunch of people with us. Hello, Janet Yu, Balking 649. Oh, Tupper T Turtle is with us today. Woohoo! And Steve Haynes, welcome. Bruce Burwell, Doug Belanger, David Stokes. Excellent, awesome. So before we dive into the show, we are going to share with you a little bit about 2 weeks ago. We did the show with Cache Drone, and we introduced the contest for the Mars rover. So what we want to show you now is the photos that were posted in order to win that contest. So we'll be right back. You discovered it and posted your Mars photos, and they were awesome. Some pretty funny ones and some very, very creative. We loved them all. And our patrons posted theirs too. But who will win? Find out in 30 minutes or less. What a tease, what a tease. Yes, we're going to find out who's going to win in 30 minutes or less. So let's dive right into the show. So we can take questions from the chatting audience, but I am going to research a couple because they were sent to me. Hold on, I just got to find where it went. Start talking, Roy.
All right, so I'm going to look down a little list here of comments from folks, or as they pop up, I'll answer them. And I do see a few familiar names and some new ones to me. So let's see which ones come up. So obviously Jeff's up there from Cache the Line. I don't see any direct questions yet, but I know you had some message to you, because I think some might have been put on the main page.
Yeah, I just have to find it where it went to.
So one of the questions we see here is, where do the Ontario reviewers get the maps that they use for permission zones? And it's a number of sources. Typically, when a reviewer goes through each review, they have a system where Groundspeak flags if something is or is not within a zone, if that zone has permission. Well, those maps are often sent in by the land managers themselves, who actually have the policies and they keep the maps up to date, and they will provide them over to Groundspeak with a license saying, you cannot share these, but you can use these to help us safeguard our properties. That happens in most cases. In other cases, there may be a land manager who has no familiarity with digital tools, and they will send in a paper copy and say, this kind of sort of shapy thing is our land. Please make sure you enforce what the policies. In those cases, what we'll do is we'll do our best
Cool.
to have a pass notice on GIS, and they will make a digital file from that. But there are other land managers who say,
You're breaking up, Roy.
oh, I'm clear with that.
Your audio is going out a little bit. Okay.
So that there's other maps that we fight tooth and nail to get from land managers. And they may say it's copyright information, but they may also say you have to enforce our policies, but we don't have a map to give you. And then we might do some archival maps online. We might do our best to try and find open source or free maps. And so it's a combination of sources, and we can only go with what we've been given. There are times where we'll flag something in its own, and someone will say, no, the sign for the park is here, the cache is here. Well, for us, the onus is then on the cache owner to kind of clear that up by checking with permission. Although there are some times where we'll know a map followed the outline, for example, a lake, and go over a bit. Okay, exact same shape.
You're cutting in and out again, Roy.
Cutting in and out.
Well, that's unusual.
Yeah, that was good. Next question. How did you choose 777 as part of your caching name?
RCA was too short for the game, and I needed to add some numbers or some other letters. And RCA 7 was a license plate my mother had given me when I was 21. And so when I made an Xbox account for games, I added another couple of 7s, and it fit. So when I made my geocaching account, I used the same name, and here we are.
Did it have to be longer than a certain number?
It was 6 characters or more.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Huh.
No.
Is that currently you have to be 6 characters or more?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh,
And there are some other anomalies now with names, as I believe they now try and not have you use a period in your name.
Yep.
And there's a couple of other things that mess up the app.
Huh. Yeah, cool.
There you go.
Okay, moving on. And this is what we do on Facebook. What CacheShadow does on Facebook. It's just throw the questions out there, and you get an answer, and just keep rolling. Can you have a cache published on a specific date?
In Ontario, if you request that your cache be published on a certain date, and say in the morning or the afternoon, evening, your reviewer will do their very best to have that happen, and it's like a 99% success rate. Within reason, so if someone says, I've got 10 caches, can you publish one at 1:15 p.m., one at 1:19 p.m., one at 1:35 p.m.? You might be told they'll all be published in the afternoon. But typically, reviewers will do what they can to make sure that scheduled publishes can occur, and whether they'll sit around and press a button, or it'll done by region to region, but I'm not sure of any region that has a problem with it.
I can't hear you, Dave.
Correct. There we go.
There he's back.
The first time you went caching, were you with someone or by yourself? That question is each of us.
Each of you? Well, you both should answer first.
Okay, Karen, you go first. Actually,
we went together.
Yeah.
We went with our kids, and we said, let's check this out and see what it's like, and we all went together.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, my first day of caching was thanks to my brother and my sister-in-law. And I used to drive a Jeep, and there was a cache in Swift Rapids, GC619, and my brother had asked if I would drive him and his wife to this cache, and it was a 11-kilometer 4x4 trail, for want of a better phrase. And yeah, okay, sounds great. And drive down dirt road, puddles, mud, lots of fun, and get to the very end, and he hands me his GPS and says, go find it. So my very first cache find was GC619, which is, I think, the 14th oldest cache in Canada at this point. And I like this. And we went and found some more. And then we went and found some more. And so it's thanks to my brother and sister-in-law, who are fingers crossed as a team name, is why I started caching. And I was right along with them on day one.
Nice. Okay, Karen, read the next question. There you go.
How many caches were in the queue when the last publication ban was lifted?
More than 10.
More than 10.
That's an
That's
accurate answer.
that's all I can say.
Yeah, we had a lot. So in the past, I guess, past 24 hours, I've published 170, and that's a portion of what we've cleared within the past week or so, since the pause on publishing in Ontario has come to an end due to the pandemic. So there are a lot.
Cool. Okay, we're done. Okay, I think this is the next question. How was your first ever Giga, and did you drink any German beer?
So I was in Munich, just popped by. There was this big event going on, and they had the signs saying Jaija everywhere. And this fellow comes running towards me, and he's got a Canadian flag wrapped around his back. And he was so happy that he saw me before I saw him. And he did, because he won. And Andreas, my friend, it was great to see you. We missed you here in Ontario. And we had a moderate amount of German beer that day in what I would say would be respectable sized steins. And it was a really good event. It was in the Munich Olympic Stadium. And it was surprising how many people I knew bumping into them in Munich. So that particular trip, this was back in 2014, I'd done a road trip through countries around there. I proposed to my now wife on Charles Bridge in Prague. So it was a very memorable trip. But it was started off with that very first Giga. And that's the only block party I've ever not been able to attend because they were on the same day. So I had to do a decision between the two, and hanging out with Andreas in Germany and drinking beer won.
Okay, I missed a question, and I'm going to come back to that. Yeah, I saw one that popped up, and it was up here. It was from Cache the Line. Oh, here we go. Is it pronounced scheduled or scheduled?
Well, that depends if you're saying it properly or not, doesn't it?
Well, maybe I'm not saying it properly.
Well, if we go back to our previously scheduled programming, I'm not entirely sure. If I keep my tomatoes in my garage, I'll probably answer it correctly.
Garage.
And I'm quite sure as long as one gets the message and it's conveyed correctly, it doesn't matter if you go to school, you'll learn about it probably.
I tend to say I'll check my schedule, but I know, like you said, if it's scheduled, go back to our regular schedule. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
is it privacy or privacy?
Yeah.
Is it an S or a Z in organized? It's like
privacy is so
You see, as long as we all agree that there's a U in color, we're good to go.
Oh, we have a latecomer. Houston, Texas. Dave came in after you introduced yourself. So who's the guest tonight? Our guest tonight is RCA777. That is his geocacher name. And he is one of the 3 Ontario reviewers. His name is CacheShadow. And what CacheShadow does on an irregular basis on our Connected Ontario Geocachers Facebook page is he'll run a contest for a Tim Hortons gift card of, I think it's $5.
Yeah, or a trackable.
Or something, yeah. Some kind of quickie little gift. And any and all questions are welcome, and they don't have to be geocaching related. Although, if you really want to know something, he might answer.
Yeah,
in the affirmative.
I can be creative in all kinds of ways. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. More importantly, is it Cito or Saito?
I think it's Cito. Remember the baseball manager, Cito Gaston?
Mm-hmm.
If it's his name, doesn't he know how to pronounce it?
Yeah.
Enough said.
There you go. It's Cito. CacheShadow. Cache the Line says, I went to high school. High Schule.
See?
High Schule. Okay. Wait a minute. Missed that one there. A. Boudreau says, who is the Earth Cache reviewer for Ontario?
The Earth Cache reviewer for Canada is GeoAware CA.
Okay. Oh, yeah. It's not just Canada.
Yeah. And that also is Cache Chameleon is her alter ego as her reviewer account. So we're very lucky in Ontario that we have a lot of players within the province who also are part of the game as volunteers in different roles. And so we have reviewers for other provinces living in Ontario. So one of them is our Earth Cache reviewer, GURCA. Hi, Sandra.
And you can see her posts if you go to Facebook and you go onto Earth Caches Rocks. She is one of the members of that Facebook page. It is dedicated completely to Earth caching. So there you go. I think there's just a little a vowel. Yes. A vowel is missing. When are we going to start venting?
From where I sit, some people never stop. So at the present point in time, in Ontario specifically, we do have limits from the government, depending on what zone you're in, with gatherings outdoors and indoors. The gatherings in the most restrictive areas are far too small to have events, at least Ontario-sized events, and particularly when you consider we've not had any events since October of 2020, I'm quite certain that if we were to publish an event, it would be whoof, particularly if it were a CETO, as people would want their dangled souvenir carrot in front of it. So we have to be mindful that it's not simply a case of, I've only ever had quiet events, can I have one? It won't go over the government limit. It's a case of once that thing is published, it will just be moth to a flame. And that's understandable. So because Ontario has different regional gathering limits based on the color of their zones due to the pandemic, it's not practical to cherry pick and do things either. Cache pages don't come with a marker that says what health region in particular cache is in, and how are we going to weigh up whatever the guidance is each day. So at the moment, it's still a pause on events and CETOs, which is a shame. However, I'm optimistic that definitely CETOs you would imagine happen first because they are outdoor, and hopefully there will be some lifting of restrictions in the near future. In the meantime, at least we have physical caches back in play.
Very nice.
Dave, there's an earlier question from Steve Haynes.
Oh.
Can I submit a puzzle cache? You got it?
No.
It's just after you were muted.
Oh, way up there. Oh, right there. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Can I submit a puzzle cache with posted coordinates on Mars now that we've gone universal, a virtual waypoint?
Well, if you can work out what the coordinates are for Mars, I'd be interested to see how you'd enter them in the screen. But I would like to point out that many moons ago, there was a fellow by the name of JuicePig who actually did come up with a couple of different approaches on interstellar caching ideas. And Groundspeak actually had to think about them because he did point out some things at the time that didn't really say it wasn't possible. And a few years ago, there were a few guideline changes, particularly when they went into having the International Space Station having the trackable and the cache on board. And so they changed some things. So the space station cache, the coordinates move, and they are on Earth because they represent different, like the takeoff place and where they see it. So Mars, who knows? But if anybody is going to be a space cadet, Steve, I'm not sure if you have any suggestions. So there you go.
That'll be cool. Well, he could submit it and see what happens.
Absolutely. If you can find the coordinates for Mars and put it on the webpage and it takes it,
Houston, Texas, this isn't a question, but Houston, Texas Dave says that Flat Cache Canada and Flat London Westie and Flat Lyricast made it to an event in Cisco, Texas. I see another question that we bypassed from Doug Belanger. Where did your reviewer avatar come from? And Roy was telling us this in the green room before we started, I think.
So the background I have, which is today on the little background we have for the channel, that was provided by an artist that I bumped into online. And I mentioned that I was looking for something like the Shadow character from the comic books, but with geocaching. And they went, what's geocaching? I said, well, it uses the GPS. And no shadow of a light, like 5 minutes. Sent. And so at the same time, Groundspeak, there used to be a process when you became a volunteer that their art department, they would, if they had the time, they would create you a pixel icon. So you'll see a lot of reviewers and lackeys have a little badge, which is a pixel icon, a 8-bit. That was created for me by Roxy at Groundspeak. It was very similar. I wanted to be like the Shadow. And she's like, the Shadow of the comic books. Love that.
Nice.
Done. Minutes. So it was very fortunate that they both took a very similar color scheme, and
Mhm.
they complement each other. My favorite one's the Roxy one, to be honest, of the two. But I'm very, very lucky that I think it connected with them, because I could have come up with something that there was no creativity with it. But yeah, see that graphic? That's
There you
ages
go.
way back there.
Yeah, I
But I
was going
must
to use
admit, I've
this.
had my nose done since then.
This
But
back this background is very busy, so I took it out. So
yeah,
I noticed that from a few live shows. So there you go. Oh, wait a minute, I have that one. I forgot I
oh, there you
created that
go.
one. There you go.
Oh,
Okay, so you're in there. There's another question that we ran over. Wayne Charles asked, "Do you miss Cog Spring Flings?"
I
I
certainly do.
I do, because
Yes.
they ended just as we were realizing that kind of event existed.
So 2014 was the last year we had the 10th Cog Spring Fling, and from those, I think four mega events. They were fantastic. They were a lot of fun to put on, but one of the challenges we had is we were approaching at that time maybe 900 people would be showing up during the course of a day. And there was always the expectation and the request that there be a camping aspect to the event. And we did our very best to lose money every year. And I have to tell you, we were successful at that.
Wow.
And as a result of that, we didn't ever want to charge anybody more money than we absolutely had to pay for insurance or the entry fee or the site fee. Well, when you start hitting near 1,000 people, then your average venue is going to be too small, and you start having to look at larger venues. And larger venues, they just see dollar signs because they're used to the bluegrass concerts or the rock concerts, and just the cost of doing it. That just wasn't feasible to try and keep it going. At the same time, having an event just to have an event didn't seem like a lot of fun. We wanted to be unique for everybody, and a lot of people put a lot of hard work into it. Well, it's kind of taken a little bit of a backseat. Maybe it'll happen again. Maybe the spirit and the energy from the community will cross paths with a venue
Hmm.
that says we'd love to have 1,000 people and not have you spend an arm and a leg on insurance. We had
Yeah.
all kinds of riders for our insurance. You're not able to go near the water's edge, for example. And if we did, we could invalidate our insurance. That was one of the requirements of one of our events, which was on a lake. So all the canoeing ideas went out. And so it
Yeah.
just became prohibitive due to our size and popularity.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll find that nugget again.
That's what a lot of people don't realize when they start asking, "Hey, we should have a mega." And I've noted, I said that early on too, but once we got into doing reenactment events, you realize what is involved. There is a lot of work and a lot of background stuff that a lot of people just don't realize, and you really, really need to be dedicated and do a lot of work. So. Amy Mary asks, "What is COG?" That was originally Central
Well,
Ontario.
it's still both. All right. So
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
I joined the geocaching scene in 2007. And a few years before that, there were a group of wonderful folks who decided they'd kind of bring up some forums to talk about geocaching in Ontario. At that point in time, there was a real hub around the York region and Central Ontario. And so some of the older caches were here. And that forum grew and grew, and it ran into some technical issues. And my IT propeller hat came in, fixed a few things. I got interested, started to run the forums a bit more, started to help out a bit more. And over time, it became a Facebook group. Well, Central Ontario geocaches sounds very limited to Central Ontario,
Hmm.
and it's far beyond that. So it's become Connected Ontario geocaches, because you can connect with Ontario geocaches, whether you're in the 705, the 416, the 905, the 519, or the 613, or Hawaii.
Hmm.
And so we still are both, but both are COG. And the original logo and the tagline was "Gear Up, Get Rolling." And that was always the idea of getting ready for going out caching for the day. Is you grab your stuff, you get prepped, and off you go.
Hmm.
And that same, really, it's more of a spirit than anything else. So it's a collective location. So COG really is more of an idea that people keep
Yeah.
alive.
Yep.
And up until the pandemic, COG had a monthly event for sequential months, so 7, 8 years. Just different people would create an event. I just put COG in the title, and it just, hey, we're doing this thing. And
Yep.
I'm happy to have folks keep that going for as long as they can. But now
Mhm.
it's just a central point for people to discuss and chat caching. And chances are, if someone's in a regional group in Ontario on social media, they're in the COG group. So it's kind of a
Yes.
one-stop shop for not everybody, but I'm going to say maybe 80% of the people I know. So
Yeah,
we've got 1,700 people in there last time I checked.
Yeah, a lot of regions of Ontario then have their own different ones. We have Southwestern or London and area geocaches. You have Barrie,
Yeah,
Kawartha,
NCR.
and whatever. And a lot of times you'll see the same posts get posted across all of them. So Dave said have events at the backyard of Cache Canada and Cache the Line. We actually have discussed on London and Area Geocaches having an event, not a geocaching event, but a get together in a public place but we need to realize we can only go up to 25 people. And I think that's pretty standard, and no matter what color zone you have. So we just have to be very careful if we did that, just pop in, say hello. A lot of people responded in the positive. I'm the one that posted it, and I would like to do it. We have a location. It's not too far from our house. It's a great location to come and meet in the morning. We just have to be really careful that somebody doesn't call us out on it. And too many people don't flood there suddenly and make 50 people show up. And I'm just concerned about that. So you just have to be really careful. And there are no events in Alberta either. So there you go. David Stokes says the Hides of March was my last gathering 1 year ago today. I think Cache Line, I have a park, or he's considering it even in the park. But yeah, the moths to flame, yeah. So the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
There's a question a little further up, Dave. Andrea Nail and Koroliva. What was the most memorable moment of geocaching in Russia?
Oh, yeah, I had that one. I forgot. Yes. We just want to say thank you from Scotland, from Christopher Minkle.
I hope I didn't get the names too messed up.
Yeah, we'll do Christopher because he's on screen, so to speak.
Yeah. What's the strangest reason you had to reject a cache from being published?
I've had people who have wanted to be very helpful and put food items in caches, and I've had people who want to be very helpful and put things like lottery tickets in caches, which might not be considered to be, family friendly if you're going to be a certain age. But I did have somebody tell me that, which is kind of ties in another question I see coming. Someone did put a bottle of scotch in a cache once.
Oh my! I missed it.
Exactly. And that's one of those, I could just publish it and see what happens. It would have been fun. And yes, I kicked that one back. But there have been a couple of times where I think things are just ready to go wrong, and it's immediately obvious to the person that hit the cache. And I think one of the ones that's most memorable is when a parent hid a geocache at the front door of their child's primary school as a surprise, and was quite surprised to learn that it would potentially cause a security concern. And it just because they were so excited about it. And the reason it was strange is they were a teacher. And it was just the excitement of it. And I said, just think about this for a moment. And they went, oh my gosh, you're right. I was just completely wrapped up in this for a second. Oh, please. And this is a few years ago now. And it was kind of a pleasure to have them turn around and say, that's on me. But wow, it just made perfect sense to me. And it's little things like that where they become those positive surprises. And it's not always a too close to another cache or a gender or commercial issue. Sometimes it is just a genuine, great idea. No. Those are somewhat strange because they're so rare.
Just wanted to mention that Christopher Michael is one of our sponsors, or our patrons from Scotland, Finlay and his Drudge. So we just wanted to mention that. Before we go on to Andrea and Korleva's question, I had a comment that I wanted to make about the Scotch. I hid a cache in New York City in Central Park, but it never was published. It was a private coordinate cache, and I hid a can of Keith's beer for geocaching with Hailmeister,
which
and
is a
he
Canadian
and
beer.
a Canadian beer, and it was a joke because all he had was Budweiser and maybe Bush, something like all watered down beer in the States when we went to
American
the
beer.
Midwest Geobash, and he went with what's his name? The red guy from Sesame Street. Oh, Elmo. Geo Elmo took him on a tour of Central Park, and they went to my cache that I had hid in a stump, and he got the beer. Because Elmo asked me, "Hey, can you hide something for Hailmeister, and we'll go find it?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll hide a beer." He goes, "Can you do that?"
Do that?
Yeah, sure, why not?
That's
I
funny.
did, and it survived. Okay, back to the previous question. What was your most memorable moment of geocaching in Russia?
My trip to Russia was so much fun because of the people I was with primarily. I was there with our cruise, Landshark's Adventure Cruises, and I have to tell you, the finding caches bit was very minimal due to the number of caches we could find that were not virtuals. But I think standing in St. Peter's Square, and there's a whole bunch of different photograph moments I have which were virtuals, but the very idea that I would have this honking great big thing on my map filled up by one tiny little cache just felt so wrong, but really good at the same time. Because when you find that one cache in Russia, granted St. Petersburg's over here, you get this huge chunk on the map, and I'll take it. And yes, in theory, they should break it up into smaller portions to make it fair, because really, it isn't. I haven't cached that much of the world, but it was a memorable moment pulling out my app and going, look, look. So that was good.
Nice. All right, so Cash Line is leaving us. He has somewhere to go. All right, excellent. So I have another question. This one came from Karolina Dimitrieva. I can never say their name right. I don't know if I'm killing it. I have to put this one on a banner. Hang on. Working on it. Paste. Enter. Go. There we go.
Would a reviewer take action on a cache if someone complains that searches have eroded, damaged the surrounding area? Yes, happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many situations where the community are the eyes of the reviewers, and there are many of those times they're the eyes for themselves. It's their game, their community. And one of the things we've got to be mindful of is if people think someone's disrespecting our playing field, the world around us, we don't want that disrespect being associated with geocaching or geocachers.
Mm-hmm.
And any way that can be fixed if individuals are kind of given a nudge. And there might be situations where caches do have to be taken out of the game to safeguard a particular location. So there are situations where damage can be reported and a cache will get disabled, and a cache owner, they may be powerless, but at the same time, you've got to be very aware that we're playing the game on a layer above the world around us, so to speak. So we've got to be mindful of it. In the UK, for example, they have their own guidelines regarding hiding caches in rock walls, because obviously you don't want people pulling rocks out and disturbing the walls, and that's something we don't have here because we don't have those old rock walls, but it's a very similar approach. Is you need to leave things as you found it.
Yeah, we have rock gabions. Gabion
Yes.
cages.
Yeah, and nobody really cares what happens to those.
No. Except when you start pulling the rocks out.
I've seen an empty one, but it wasn't caches.
We found one the other. Well, I found one the other day. Karen wasn't with me, and it was so easy. I was so relieved. Okay, another question. Here we go.
Doug Belange's got one from his wife. When you're
Okay,
done that
hang on.
one.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Would a reviewer take action on a cache if someone, such as a nearby landowner, complains about people looking for caches hidden on crown land or public lands?
typically, landowners don't know who reviewers are. They don't go to reviewers. They go directly to Geocaching HQ. And so Geocaching HQ, obviously they're listening, and they may require that a reviewer action a cache as a result of an escalation to them. Now, whether that is from a landowner on their own property or from a neighbor who's concerned, HQ deal with the details. What typically happens is the reviewer will receive a notice letting them know that a cache has been actioned by HQ, or is there something that the reviewer can do to work with the cache owner? As an example, if there is somebody who is very concerned about traffic on their road and they're seeing an increase in traffic, they may not have any issue from permission perspective, but they may think it's a safety concern, and they may think that's something the Groundspeak needs to know about. Groundspeak may turn around and say, okay, let's work with this and see what we can do. That might end up being a reviewer action. It may be a note to the cache owner. Sometimes it could be simply saying to the person that escalates, saying, it's okay, there's permission from so-and-so, or it's been there for a while, not to worry. Every situation can be different, but there are situations certainly where a cache could be actioned based on escalations, but how the escalations start is a variety of reasons.
Yeah, we had this happen to us, I think. I'm not sure if you were the reviewer, but I believe the way it happened was somebody had an event at a conservation area in London, and the conservation officer was there to give a talk for the event, and then the subject came up about geocaches, and they started to get, wait a minute, what? And they were there to do a CETO, and then he said, oh, don't step off the path, but there's geocaches in there. There's what? And then it started to become a big issue, and there was environmentally sensitive areas designated in London's parks, and we lost a lot of geocaches then. I'm not sure the number. It was in the dozens.
Yeah.
So it got wind of it that way, but it didn't go to the reviewer, or it didn't go to the cache owner or the reviewers. It went to Groundspeak, and then we all got a notice saying, hey, your cache needs to be archived because of this ESA. Yeah.
So it can happen.
Yeah. So there you go, Karen. Here's the question. I found it.
How many Scotch labels have I tasted? Well, I typically don't lick the label, Karen. I normally open the bottle and pour it
My
into a
wife,
glass.
T. Karen, wants
How many
to know how many Scotch labels you've tasted and what is your favorite.
So I don't know how many, and to be honest, if I was doing it properly, would I be able to keep count? I found that the bottle that most likely gets gifted or ends up here has been Monkey Shoulder, which, yes, is a blend. It is not a single. And it's got good memories of cruise ships and Scotch tastings. And it's not easy to find all the time. It suits my needs. I find Macallan will be fine too. There's a few other things on the list. What I do enjoy is the variety more than just the one single thing. And it's something I like to enjoy with friends. And as a result, not many labels have been looked at over the past 12 months. But that is one of the primary reasons that I think I need to get to Scotland. I actually have a prepaid tour going around a whole bunch of distilleries, which was cancelled due to the pandemic. And so I'm in email contact with the fine fellow who's going to do the tour and just making sure he's still okay. And he is.
Nice.
So at some point, that's back on.
Yeah, we had a tour to Ireland in last July that was canceled, and when Karen asked me, "Do you want to go to Ireland for my choir trip and do your geocaching? We'll do our geo." And I don't know. And then the very first geocache I clicked on within the route they were going was at one of the breweries, and I'm like, I'm in. I'm in. Somebody had a question. Did I lose it? It was here. There you go. What is your favorite geocaching movie?
I don't have a favorite geocaching movie. I have done my very best to not watch any of the 3 that have been put out that I can think of, because I don't want to have that cringe moment. However, the most recent one, Goonies Part 2, is on my list, a point in time where I'm with family members who say, what shall we watch? And everybody can't agree. I will just put that on and make them sit through it. But I've heard it's really good and a lot of fun. So
it's okay. It had the Goonie parts are actually really good. When they go into the cave, that is really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it was done well.
Yeah.
In my back pocket, so to speak.
Wait a minute. Albedo says they found a bottle of beer in a cache once.
He just took a hit, put the lid back on, and somebody else found it at Central Park.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, wait. I think this is, there we go. I've always wanted to know, how do you safely cache in the southern states, knowing there are poisonous spiders, snakes, and other critters? Be careful.
Yeah, when I've been in the southern states, I do one of two things. I either A, run really, really quickly after I go near a cache, or B, have somebody with me who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done so far. And really a lot of the community players, if you send a note down ahead of time, they will quite happily send you back the watch for this. Oh, you're coming in July, watch for that. And that's typically been the approach I've taken whenever I've traveled, or the magic of Google.
That's what, when the Geo Woodstock was in Texas, a lot of people were saying, hey, watch out for this, that, and the other thing. And I think most of the posts were on chiggers. And I'm like, what? And I had to look up, you had to Google it. What's a chigger? And then I read about it, and I'm like, no, we're not going. I thought it sounded awful. But we decided, yeah, we'll go. And we got them. We had them up our legs, and it was horrible. We had to go to
ticks.
Yeah, we had to go to Walgreens to get some cream to stop the itch. It was, yeah, Hailmeister started itching his feet. He goes, yeah, my feet are really itchy. Whatever. He's got itchy feet. And then I went to bed, and I took my socks. Like, God, my feet are really itchy. And I'm like, uh-oh. My feet are itchy. My legs are itchy.
And they were little tiny ones, too. They were just really hard to see. They were just baby ones. So
you couldn't see them at all.
I'm sure by the time they were done, they were bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a personal trackable that you give out, just like how the lackeys have?
A lot of volunteers do, and they are not provided by Geocaching HQ. We choose to have our own produced. And so I do have a trackable, and a lot of people have won it in the COG Facebook channel in this same game. And at the end of this evening, I'm going to actually get a couple of names from our illustrious hosts and pull two from the hat. And so we're going to actually send a couple of those out too.
Awesome. We won one on the cruise, and we actually gave it away. No offense. We gave it to somebody who doesn't travel a lot, and that was, can't remember her name now.
I give all mine away.
She did the breakfasts, and she doesn't have a chance.
Shelley,
she does used to do a monthly breakfast, and she doesn't travel around a lot, so she was tickled pink. She was really thrilled, and it was because there was two couples in our group, and we're like, oh, who's going to get it? And she goes, they said, well, why don't you give it to Shelley? Oh, great idea. So she loved it.
I like them making connections, so I'd rather give them to people through something or be passed on than just drop them in a cache. Because you don't know if they're just going to end up with a nothing. So if I can make a connection from it, then that was the whole point. And
I think your trackable has not that image on it, but something similar. It's a more dot matrix.
That's my HQ provided pixel image.
Yeah.
Yes.
How often do you see complaints from landowners via HQ?
Very rarely. If it's once a month, I would be probably overestimating it. But it's now and again, and a lot of the times it can happen usually when there's a misunderstanding on property boundaries, or when boundaries change, and that happens a lot too.
All right, so before we continue on, I see a comment from Michelle Little. And before I post that, we're going to take a short 1-minute break because we're going to announce the winners from 2 weeks ago. We were giving away a Perseverance Rover tag and 2 Cache Canada tags, and to one of our patrons was going to win the geocoin for the Perseverance Rover. So I'm going to play that right now, and we'll find out who won. We'll be right back. So, who won the contest? A Cache Canada tag goes to Danielle, and a Cache Canada tag goes to A. Boudreau, and the winner of the Rover tag goes to NFJK. And from our patron entries, the patron coin goes to Lauren JT. Congratulations to all of our winners. Now on with the show. And we're back. Except Lyric Class is gone.
That's okay.
There we go.
This is an example of a CacheShadow tag with its autofocus fix in there.
There we go.
There you go. A little back a bit more. There we go. And so these little puppies, I have a few of them left, and I say that just for making connections. And so
Nice.
a few of these have been dropped off on our travels around the world and handed out on cruises and the like. But primarily, they've just been giving us prizes in the COG group. And here tonight.
There you go. Man, Michelle said it's not a question, but a thank you to CacheShadow. I just published my first cache, and it was a great experience.
Oh, glad to hear it, but thank you for putting all the work in.
It is a lot of work, but it's very worth it, and it is so cool to get your first cache and go, wow, I've done it, and wait for the logs to come in, and hopefully it's more than just a TFTC. There we go. What is Patricia Bell, this is another one of our patrons. Thank you, Patricia. What is the most unique puzzle cache or puzzle type you've seen?
So I will tell you perhaps my favorite puzzle series of all time. And then they are now archived and placed by Beagle 1. And the culmination of puzzle caches ending in a cache called The Ultimate Mystery. And there was a collection of caches where each cache page, the puzzle looked identical. There was an image. You had to solve the puzzle, and it was the same image, basically with different messages in for different cache pages. Go and find the container, assemble something from the things you found, and that wasn't straightforward. And then use some intricate math to be able to work out where this final was. And I will tell you, that was one of the most interesting and fun series ever, because the lore and the storyline created with the cache pages was absolutely epic. And so those were great because of the creativity and the effort that went into that series, particularly when I know the effort that went into the things that you found in these caches. They were templates, and you drew around these templates and used the answer somewhere else. That was a fantastic cache. And another one very similar was Laru Bravo, and that was a cache where you ended up with a night cache, and you had to tie rope around some trees. You had to work out the right tree because the rope joined in the center, and it was dangling down was a plumb line. And where it hovered, you actually looked and you'd follow a trail on the ground to a cache. And it was one of those things where if you went during the daytime, you could just see it, but it would be completely ruined. But at night, it just worked. And that was another great one.
I can't think of any favorite puzzle caches. I know puzzle caches aren't my thing.
I enjoy creating them more than I do finding them.
Yeah, I've been told I've made some good ones, and I just can't figure them out. Although I solved one the other day. I did get one. So there you go. Oh, there we go. Mercy 101 is Shelley. There we go. I couldn't remember. Mercy 101. Awesome. Thank you very much. Did I have another question? Did I do this one? Yes, I did. It was public link. We did that one, right? Hidden on public link. Yes, we did that one. Okay. There we go. Those ones are all done. Okay.
There's more in there.
We need some more questions.
I see a couple on the screen.
Oh, did I miss some?
There's one from
okay.
Shelley. There's one from Dave.
Dave Ferris
there.
has one. Oh, okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
One of my own caches? No. One that I published? Maybe.
Oh.
And sometimes, you have that thing in the back of your mind. It's a serious thing when emergency services are called out for a false alarm, right? We should avoid it at all costs. You always wonder whether or not there's somebody there in the bomb squad who's got a geocaching account going, oh, maybe I'll get one this week. We get to blow stuff up. So I've been fortunate that I think there's only been 1 or 2 times that something in an area, you don't always find out, has been an issue, but sometimes caches could be in place for years and years before an issue arises, because it just depends on who comes across them under what circumstance. That's another one of the reasons why when we say placing caches, be mindful there are some off-limit zones, because it's not always a case of when you placed it, how it fits into the environment. It's what could happen over time. What happens when the camouflage that you glued onto that tube falls off due to the weather and it's just a black tube in a corner where someone can see it.
Yeah.
So not happened to me personally, but it does happen.
There you go, Karen. I found it.
Have I
Dave
been injured?
Ferris asks, have you ever been injured geocaching?
I'm afraid to answer it unless I have wood to touch. It's IKEA. No,
Not yet.
no. Juice Pig has taken me on a few caching expeditions that have, I don't know, been seeing my life flash before my eyes. And Fangly Fish has dragged me out of the forest on an occasion, but that's mostly due to my ineptitude. But thankfully, not injured. The only thing that's been injured is my pride.
Yeah, I've had that happen. And we have video evidence of that too. I think it's almost 2 years ago now. It was about 2 years ago, March. I thought the ice was frozen enough. We kind of looked at it and said it's probably not. We tried for it anyway, and there is a video on me doing a geocaching fail, falling through the ice. And we managed. Karen was filming it and managed to turn it off just as panic was setting in. I got to the point where if this thing I was wearing coverall, chest waders, and I got to the point where they could have started to fill up, and then I started breaking the ice, but managed to get out. So, and the day before. Somebody walked across, fell through the ice. It's on the video too. Walked across the ice, fell through at the very last moment, but got the cache. We still don't have that cache. Yeah, we're gonna get it someday.
Well,
And
maybe we can take a watercraft out and go the 7 or 8 feet of it.
I have a fantastic idea for a video. It'll be hilarious because I don't mind people laughing at me at all. If we can just get there now. It's a matter of getting to Michigan in the nice weather. So so that's 2 people out of the panel, but we have to hear from the third on the panel about injuries.
Okay.
Twice.
We were in Niagara Falls, and I was jumping over a guardrail, and I broke my leg. So that was
Simply
the first one.
Stepping over the guardrail, and her foot went and snapped her fibula.
And I have never broken anything before this in all my years. I have very strong bones. But we went geocaching again, and I slipped on some slippery rocks, and broke my wrist. So.
Yep, that was scary. Yeah, we had to evacuate. That was on
we were
Peely
at
Island.
Peely Island. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, in the afternoon, so it's kind of like everything's starting to close, and yeah.
Yeah, we had to call the ferry and see if we could change from the next day to right then to get to a hospital. We managed to cut our vacation short and get to a hospital, so we took care of it. Okay, I think this one and then another one from Dave.
Oh.
Do you have Adventure Labs? I know he does, I do, and she does.
Do I do them? Yes, I do them as in I.
Oh, do you do? I thought it said you have. Okay.
I've created a couple, but I have found a few. Mm-hmm. I save Adventure Labs because they're the caching experience that my wife doesn't mind as much, is probably the best way to put it. And I've taken her and other members of my family who normally they're very patient with geocaching. That's probably a good way to put it. Adventure Labs they've enjoyed typically because they're seeing things which are easy to answer, and for them that's a little bit more rewarding than having to actually look for stuff. Mm-hmm. So I've enjoyed a few. I purposely saved a bunch, as in pretty much all of them, for trips with the family, so I don't clear out an area anymore. And as for having them, yes, I have 2 out there currently.
Mhm.
And they're fun to create, and I think that a lot of the time the creativity and adventure lab skills, it's just like regular caches, it kind of spans the whole gambit, but I've seen some amazing things, and hopefully we'll see more and I'll find more.
Yep. We each have one. I'll tell you, my first, we also have the ability to do a second, and we're kind of hemming and hawing on what to do. My first adventure lab is currently landlocked. You cannot complete my adventure lab because it crosses an international border. There are 3 stages in Canada, and 2 of them are in the United States, and the adventure lab is along the Niagara River. But I have a bonus cache connected to it, and I have found out that you can find the adventure or the bonus cache with just the coordinates needed from the Canadian side. There's enough of the numbers there that you can Uber the final, which is okay with me. I'm perfectly okay with that, because I know the numbers that they need from the U.S. side are the smaller numbers, like the 100th number over. So you can be out within 10 feet and you'll find it. So once you're in the area, it's almost pretty obvious to know where the cache is. And people have asked me if I would drop the fence on that one to allow people to do them. No, that's not the point of my adventure lab, is to go there and experience it. So, and I'm working on a third, and I think I've decided it's going to be in the same vein, which is the War of 1812. And I have 2 sites in mind.
Fantastic.
Yep. And Karen?
Well, I have one out, and it's local, and it's a one tour that you could either walk, bike, roller skate, drive. All the locations have parking spots. It's in a fairly big park, and it's maybe half-hour walk there. So, or if you can't walk, you can also drive. There's parking lots at each location.
Mm-hmm.
I have another one that I haven't finished yet, partly because of COVID, because it's like, I can't get out there to do the research.
Yeah.
So I'm doing something different, but it'll be local as well. So.
And we love doing adventure labs. We go out whenever we go caching. We always think, oh, is there an adventure lab? We always pull them up. We did one today in Port Burwell. We went out to look at the swans in Aylmer, the tundra swans, and then we say, hey, let's go to Port Burwell. It's not too far away, and we were taking my mom and her friend with us for a country drives to get them out. So,
so our challenge now is to try and go to an area that's populated with adventure labs and do them all at the same time, so you don't have to backtrack.
Yeah. And that came from the show with Dougie B. We still have to work out our trip to Kitchener. We haven't looked at putting together that yet because it's in the red zone. I'm not still sure. We won't travel into a red zone right now. So I don't see the point of looking at that. There's no urgency to do it. So here's another question. I think this one's for me. What do you think is the perfect length of beard should be before it gets trimmed? Less than what I have now. I think it's for me. Okay, there you go. Okay, it's for you. What is the... And then Garry Robertson, another of our patrons, says, beard trim? Why? Okay, you think I'm starting to look like...
Grizzly Adams?
No. ZZ Top.
ZZ Top, yeah.
And it's
you need a beard
I hadn't intended to do this, but I said on the last on Wednesday when we had our 1 minute live, I have never let my beard grow, and I thought, what the heck? Let's see what happens.
I think the point where you can say none shall pass is when
yes.
it's long enough.
When will I trim it? I stated at some point when I get my vaccine, which will probably be in November. But I might have to trim it soon. I have a job that might change, so I might have to trim it because of that. So stay tuned. We'll see. Does it bother me? No, not at all. Doesn't bother me. Okay, here's the next question. I think Lauren JT,
There you go.
another of our patrons. When and where was the last time you found a cache?
Well, actually, today I found one this afternoon in Aurora,
Mhm.
and I'm not exactly that up to date on logging things, but when Groundspeak, sorry, JCache HQ throw us a wonders of the world type scenario or souvenirs, I make sure I do. So normally I log anything when I travel, or I'll log my little qualifiers for digital souvenirs and graphics and pats on the back. Yeah, other than that, I'm not too worried about numbers. But it was today, in fact. I went and found 5 today on my way back from the grocery store.
Yep, we did 3 today. One was a target cache near the Swans. We used it to create a 1 Minute Wednesday. So today, for us, today was Wednesday. So that video will come out, I think, in 3 weeks. I think maybe 2. We have 1 minute, 2 weeks. It'll come out in 2 weeks. So it's based on the Swans, and the cache is a bonus of that experience. Steve Haynes says he had 4 broken ribs, 3 different occasions. He hates trees. I hate them too, because I didn't break any ribs, but I had a huge scrape down the side. Lost a lot of skin on that one. Balking 649 asks, can you revisit a cache to help move a trackable? I would only visit if I had a TB to trade.
Absolutely.
I don't see why you couldn't.
That's right.
No reason why you can't.
And now that HQ have prevented people from double logging caches, it's even easier to avoid the mistake people used to make where they would revisit and they think, oh, I went here today, and they would log it accidentally and log it twice. So yeah, by all means, it's a game piece. So you're helping somebody out as part of the game with the TV. Have at it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. What was the coolest adventure lab you've done?
I'd have to remember. I think though, I did one in Seattle, and that was around the Aerospace Museum, and I loved that one. Perhaps because it was one of my first real adventure lab, other than the ones that HQ had done at block parties, and aviation's always interested me. So that one I really enjoyed because you really got to go and look at small details. That one I've enjoyed the most.
We did one in Georgetown. It was by Res 2100, and it was like an adventure where you had to pick your character, you had to pick a weapon, and then you had to pick where you were going to go. So it was like an old 80s game where you go straight, turn left, go straight, turn right. And we did that one, and I loved it because it was something a little bit different. But we didn't actually go, like he said, a lot of people have done it different ways to get it, but what we did was Karen read the instructions on how to move, and I pulled up the map, and I've always been fairly good at map reading, and then she would say, okay, turn left, and I would read along on the map, and I would find out, okay, we need to go there. So instead of traveling 350 meters around this way, we went 100 meters this way to where we needed to go. And we would read one direction, well, that doesn't go anywhere, and read the other one, that's where we need to go. It was fun.
I'm going to interpret that question another way, and I tell you about the coolest lab I've created. I'm going to promote that. So I have an adventure lab in Aurora. It's called Mission History, and that uses text messaging. So you're using your Adventures app, but it's a secret agent training mission, and you communicate with your headquarters using text messages. So each step of the way, you communicate and answer correctly, and your incorrect answers can generate interesting responses.
Well, we'll have to check that one out when it goes out of the red.
We'll have to see how we can do on that one. Yeah, sounds like fun.
I had that one on my list to go when we visited our daughter, but she's no longer in Toronto area. She's now in BC. So there we go. What's the coolest where I go you've ever done?
Washington, D.C.
Oh.
And it was a tour around, and I did that one, I think, about 1 o'clock in the morning. It was deserted, and we just walked around the streets going through all of the monuments and old buildings, and the end of it, you end up looking right up at Capitol Hill. And it was just surprised me how wide open at that point in time. It just was this big white building. You didn't see any police cars, any security at the time. And it was the light had just dimmed enough. It made some amazing photographs. So that Where I Go was great. Absolutely fantastic.
Karen, do you have a
We
favorite?
did a
Where Are
fun
You?
one just like 2 weeks ago here in London. And it's got, I don't know how many stages there are, but it's a walk around London looking at different arts of graffiti on walls and various parts over the streets of London. But it's really interesting. But it's like, oh, it took us maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete. It was just that many stages, but it was very clearly laid out and well done. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Favorite virtual.
Favorite virtual. I can add this one. I love virtuals, except if they're asking for how many bolts are securing the dog tap on the water spout. That there was one in Michigan. It was probably the lamest virtual we have ever been to, but one of the coolest, and I think it's in danger right now. Although the CO is looking at it, is the one in Quebec City that has the cannonball lodged in the tree. That is
That's
one
a
of my
good one.
favorite. Yeah.
I think my favorite was Dying to Be Memorable, which was Amazon Annie's Dire Memorial up north. And one of the first virtuals I'd found.
Yeah, the big spy, the obelisk.
And I
Yeah.
think it was, at that point in time, I was caching, I think it was pen and paper and like HP Pocket PC. And we drove down the road, turned the corner, and you're in the forest, and then it's poof, won't ruin it. What? And that was a wow.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And that's stuck in my mind, and that was one of the first ones I'd found.
Yeah.
That one I found because, like you said, it was down a back road that had lots of potholes, and you're kind of like in the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden it's the Garden of Eden, and it's beautifully laid out, and it's manicured, and it was just beautiful.
It reminds you of
exciting.
the original Star Trek series where Captain Kirk becomes an Indian, and there's the obelisk, and he says, "Beam me up, Scotty," and then the thing zaps him, and he loses his memory. It looks like that. Yeah.
It was
Anyway.
awesome.
Boop, 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 boop. There.
What's the name of that one, Roy?
Dying to Be Memorable.
Yeah.
Which is a Dire
Okay,
Memorial. I
thank
think GCG9QE.
Just about an hour and a half northeast of Toronto, north-ish. Yeah. Do you watch or read content created by other geocachers?
I certainly do. There's so much of it that is forwarded to me by peers and colleagues that I only really follow one or two religiously, and Cache Canada being one of them. Whereas a lot of things, and a lot of the things I'm looking at are international. So I do enjoy looking at content from geocaches and other volunteers around the world, and there's a lot of it. And I think one of the challenges is there's so much content that can be created, and there's so much is available, and how much time do I dedicate? So I try and do things which are local, close to home, but at the same time, I want to make sure I have an idea what's going on, because ideas do cross oceans. And sometimes you get to kind of handle what's coming, or you can turn around and prepare people for what they're going to get. So yeah, I do enjoy a lot of YouTube stuff. I don't do podcasts necessarily. Audio is not my thing. I'm more visual, and it's impossible to be up to date 100%. So I take the best crack.
I do the occasional podcast, but when I do the podcast, or I listen to the podcast, I'm also watching it. So I do Caching in the Northwest if I happen to be up then.
Exactly.
The same thing, or Geocache Talk, but I'll watch it. I generally won't listen. Karen listens to a lot of podcasts, but not geocaching related.
Yeah, Geocaching in the Northwest is another one of my followers, but I also have geocachers who create content that's not about geocaching. So I have good friends he has an entire channels on comic books and movies, and he's a geocacher. And so we're friends, and I watch his content, and he throws geocaching in.
Yeah.
You're waving in and out.
Geocacher Ken is another one of our patrons, by the way, and he does a blog on geocaching with Ken, I think, blog. And it appears on our Cache Canada page regularly. And Doug Belanger is admonishing me, come on, Dave, you can always plan a caching trip event even if you can't go to it. Yes, I know. I am going to, now I am not working, so I have all kinds of time, and now I'm just going to start looking at that cache tour plan because Dougie B is coming up in 2 weeks with another cache tour look. And we're going to be talking about the basics of putting together a cache tour plan. Not incorporating adventure labs like we talked about before, but people have asked for more information on cache tour, so we're going to be looking at that, and I will endeavor to get to work on our trip to Kitchener. So there you go, Doug. Albedo has trimmed his beard. Wait a minute. Oh, there you go. This is a good virtual. Michelle, mine is Screaming Skulls, an awesome virtual. And we did a video on that one. We saw it. We did the geocache that's across the street, and 2 weeks after we were there, the virtual got published.
See, so I've done that Screaming Skulls 3 or 4 times. I've never logged it. Mm-hmm. It's one of those where I wanted to have a really good day with good light and clear pictures, but the times I've been there, it's been wet and dreary. So I've got really bad pictures, which doesn't do it justice. So
we love the Adventure Lab in Aurora, Bulking 649.
Awesome.
Anybody ever else watch their Friend League stats, or is it just me?
I think it's just you.
Yeah. I bet you I know somebody with 4 initials in their name who's probably checking all the time. Just saying. It's the 10-stage interactive.
The Adventure Lab, yes.
Yes. Okay, wait a minute.
It is.
We used to have choose your own adventure multis, but it was a lot of maintenance, and after a while people stopped finding them. I can see that. Where you would go to a stage and then, okay, you have to go this way or that way. I've heard of a few. And we have never done one, but I've heard about them, and that must be a lot of work to put that together. Shelley asks, Roy, did your AL in Aurora, and it was fantastic.
Oh, stop it. Carry on.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, move that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Here we go. I have never been able to figure out how to do a where I go. We're on the same page.
So it's easier now than it used to be. Mm-hmm. So back in the day, originally Where I Goes were created for certain models of Garmin GPS. That went by the way of the wayside, and then smartphones got the player. And nowadays you have 2 options really for players. Recently, if you do have an iPhone, you are slightly luckier because they've made some modifications to the iPhone app that's made it have fewer bugs, and it makes it easier to download a Where I Go cartridge and play it. So you can use the app, download a cartridge from the Where I Go website, and you have a greater chance of it working than ever before.
Yeah,
that's probably the best approach. It can be a little cumbersome, depending on how the cartridge is written and what device it was written for. So,
do you have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone.
Okay, so have you used the new app?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And is it better?
Much better.
Much better. I haven't seen it. I'd love to see what it looks like.
The biggest difference is that the app lets you go and download the cartridge from the Where I Go site into the phone through the browser within the app, and then the app goes, I see it, let's play. Whereas it used to be a kind of a rope and tackle job to get the cartridge on your phone to be able to play it.
Yeah. We both use Android phones, and we use the app Where You Go. So Amy, go to the Google Play Store. If you have an Android, look up Where You Go, and you'll get that app. It's somewhat cumbersome. I think that for the last 8 months or so, it wasn't working at all. At least it wasn't for me. I couldn't download a cartridge, but all of a sudden, it started working. But when you're using the cartridge, do not do anything else. Don't close the app. Don't start taking pictures. Don't answer text messages. Because we were lucky when we did this one. We're probably going to do a video on it to try to explain how to use the app. Karen had the app open on her phone, and I had it open on mine, but I kept taking pictures back and forth, and then you have to come back and resume. And halfway through the adventure, it crapped out on me, and I could not recover from it. I could not go back to a previous version. So had we been relying on mine alone, we would have gone away frustrated. But luckily she had hers open and we were able to finish it. And it's basically, you open the app and it says, go to this stage here, and it tells you roughly a direction and the meters. You walk to that point, and then at some point it'll, like the Adventure Lab, the question that you need to answer will pop up. But usually I've found you need to go, once it changes, you need to go out, go to another button to get the location. It's just a little odd. It's not set up as well as an Adventure Lab, but they work roughly the same. So that's my take on that. There are some Where I Goes that you can play at home. We did an awesome one that was in Michigan. Was a TIE Fighter GeoArt. It was all based on Where I Goes. And this is when Karen broke her leg. We couldn't really go anywhere, so we sat on the couch together and we answered all the questions for the TIE Fighter Where I Go, and then we were able to plot out where to go, and we had 40 people show up for that adventure to go and find all the caches. It was awesome. How does your Adventure Lab work? Is it a bot, or you actually? I tell you, he's not responding to messages. No way.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a secret agent lab, so really, come on, you want to ask that kind of question? It is a mixture of 99% automated. However, the messages that go through to the system, I also get effectively a notification of what they are, not as a text message in a different queue. And so if I see somebody is having a hard time with something, I can, if I'm around, choose to insert myself into the conversation, and I maintain the theme as best as can, which is wonderful because you get to help people or mock them, as the case may be. But it also helps because if there are situations where something has changed with the adventure, I have that visibility to it changing on the fly. So as an example, there was a brass plaque that was used as a reference on one of the stages, and somebody messaged me, the little automated system, the agent trainer said, okay, find such and such word and then move whatever over here, and their reply was, the plaque is gone. And there's only so many ways they could say the plaque is gone if I wasn't there, and the bot would just, tell them nothing. Whereas I was able to go, ain't right. Agent, can you tell me what's in front of you? And they told me what was in front of them. Like, okay, then maybe you should try this. And then I was able to go in, actually drive down the road because I'm just around the corner, and go, oh, look at that. They've demolished it. Bye. And move the stage, which was easy for me to do because it was in the guise of my automated system, not within the Adventure Lab system. Because changing in the Adventure Lab once it's out there can be a little problematic. So yes, it's a mix of 99% tech and 1% being there in case.
Neat. And we were able to benefit from doing a virtual, that was RCA 77s. When we started venturing out after the first lockdown, we went to his virtual for the boats that got moved.
Big Shoot.
Yes, Big Shoot. It picks the boat up and transports it on a railway and puts it in another part of the water. The stages were you couldn't get to them because of the roped off because of the pandemic, and he was able to change what we needed to know right then and there on the spot. So it's good to know people.
That's right. GC7B6YP.
Very cool. And you can check for that one. I believe it's a 1 Minute Wednesday from last July. Yes. Dying to Be Memorable was amazing, and so was King's Highway. They did an awesome job on that virtual. Yeah. When it first came out, I remember a lot of comments of people going, well, I'm not going to do that one. And I looked at it and I go, Well, it might be someday. But you know what? With the pandemic in Ontario, that someday came last summer. So many people went on an adventure and had a ball doing that adventure lab. And
Bugs
for
and
anybody,
all.
yeah, for anybody outside of Ontario that doesn't know and you haven't seen our video, we did do a video on that adventure lab. There are 25 stages plus the posted that you can go to, and you only need to log 20 across the Trans-Canada Highway from one end of Ontario to the other, and it is an adventure.
It's a very good virtual. It's one that's on my list.
Yes, it's very, very well done. And David Stokes says, we did this one quite a while ago in one of our first Subway Cash and Dash adventures, the Old City Hall. It is fabulous. I mean, you need binoculars to look at the different stages, walking completely around it. And it's amazing that the architect put this secret message into the facade of the building. It's just, wow. Just blows you away. Somebody says they thought whoa, I lost it. I scrolled and it went up.
Yes, I think they answered what my favorite vert was before.
Yeah,
I
it was the
answered what it was.
Dyer Memorial. There you go. Was the Dyer Memorial. Okay, there you go. Do you play any other geolocation games?
I do
From
not.
Gary. We do not either. I know SimRebel has asked us, hey, play... can't even remember the name of it, but there's so many geocaches to play and so much out there, I don't see the reason to do it. I can't even remember the name, but occasionally we'll go to a place and, hey, did you know there was a... Yeah.
I played Pokemon for a little bit when it came out, and then
Right.
it got too much for my phone, so I just stopped. I just didn't have an updated enough phone to continue playing it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun because there was lots of young people that were playing it, and we'd go out at night downtown, where usually it's like, okay, people don't go out downtown at night, but there would be
Yep.
masses of people all up to anybody, and just go around and be social and have fun.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Amy Mary said she was using an Android phone and the Where You Go app wasn't working. I would try uninstalling it and reinstalling it and trying it again. I don't know when you've tried it, but for a while there, the app was not working at all. Gary says a 50% chance of getting the Where I Go cartridge to work on my Android phone. I think, I don't know when's the last time you tried it, Gary, but try it again. We just did them and it was working fine. Patricia Bell says the new app is so much better than the original. I actually enjoyed doing the last Where I Go I did because it was so easy to download the cartridge, so she must be using a iPhone. Thanks for answering that. Albedo. Yeah. Ooh, I hate when that happens. Do you bring donuts to everybody that is doing your adventure lab in Aurora?
Only the special people. Yes, there was a group of folks who went out one day to find it, and I parked across the street and watched them all stand at one of the stages and spent specially crafted messages like, I like your white hat, and other things. Because I could.
Totally creep them out, right?
I think they kind of worked it out. I drive a bright orange vehicle, so it's not that easy to blend into the background. So
either Roy has a very good memory or is very quick on his stats.
a bit of both.
What was I going to say? Oh, shoot! No, I forgot.
I don't know. What were you going to say?
I have no idea. Planning a cache tour trip to do that virtual. Awesome. You're going to love it. And Gary says that Old City Hall is great when a muggle asks what you're doing, and they're amazed when you tell them. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The Boz and I completed the Kings Highway virtual in 7 days last summer. It was an awesome road trip. Yes. We're planning, we think, Depending on what happens with my job, we are planning on going up in August to complete the rest of the stages. Even though we've already logged the virtual, we don't need to go to the other stages, but we want to do that.
Well, we
Muncie.
also have to complete. We also have to complete different counties in Ontario, and that would
Yeah.
finish that up for us.
We're missing 2, and that's the furthest west ones. Roy, have you ever played Muncie?
No,
Never.
no, I have never installed Munzie, Pokemon Go, whatever the other things are on my phone. It's been caching primarily the same thing as I don't need to dilute my time spent outdoors with multiple things. I've got my thing. This is what I do. Is what I play.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
Yeah, I've seen Munzie. I've watched other geovloggers do it, and I don't think it doesn't appeal to me. We've seen them. I have no interest in doing Munzie. I don't know. As a YouTube channel, we probably should to expand our audience, and I know others have done that, but I don't want to go. I don't want to do that part of it. I enjoy doing what we're doing together as YouTube producers. Well, I love what we're doing together and sharing it with everybody, and I think we're just concentrate on that. From my junior cacher, Patricia Bell's young son, what was your favorite place that you've gone to find a geocache? I know Karen's answer.
Go on, Karen. What's your answer?
Mine is the Eternal Flame.
Yep.
It is just outside of maybe half hour or so from Buffalo, New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know it was there until I went there, and it's fabulous. It's just amazing. I would recommend anybody to go there. Yeah.
It is amazing. It's very, very worthwhile going. And
Now it might be an Earth cache. I don't know if it's a virtual or not. Is it?
It's an Earth cache.
Earth
It's an
cache.
Earth cache,
What did
okay.
she ask? A favorite
virtual.
place? Oh,
No,
it's a geocache.
Geocache.
Yeah.
Oh, geocache. I'm sorry. I just said virtual.
When we were there, there was, I thought, what is that doing there? So you see the waterfall in front of you. It's like 3 or 4 stories high. It's trickling down the shale. And there's the flame inside this little hole. But off to the right-hand side, there was a flat rock, and there was a barbecue lighter there. And I'm like, what the heck is a barbecue lighter doing there? But apparently the flame goes out every now and then, and the barbecue lighter was there so you can relight the flame.
Eternal-ish.
Ish, yes. So anyway, Roy, your favorite geocache?
My favorite cache / place was the top of, I think, Mount Margaret in Washington State. I went to find GCD. So that was one of the older caches that's out there. It's got the only 3-digit GC code. I think it's still in existence. And I'd driven out. It was in July 2010, I think it was. Got to the trailhead, and I said to my wife, "You watch the Tour de France. I'll be back in a couple of hours." And I start walking up this hill, and I see the trail on my map. And I'm walking, and somebody coming down the hill, and they've got backpacks, hiking packs, survival gear, and they kind of look at me in my jeans. And, "Hey man, I'm good." And as I get near to the top where the cache is located, you end up at a point where the snow starts. And so it's a few hundred meters of knee-deep snow, and at the very top was the most amazing view, looking down at small plains, and then just this fantastic vista. And I found this really old cache and with the original logbook, and it was just an amazing location, a once in a lifetime opportunity. But I made it myself, and I pushed myself to get up that hill, and I don't like hills. Anybody that's cached with me knows that I'm very whiny about inclines. And I did it, and it was just a location and the whole overwhelming feeling of accomplishment, and that one has been my favorite cache and my favorite location, I think, just the sheer beauty of it.
Very nice. My favorite, I've said this before, but maybe a lot of people haven't heard it, is the Plain of Six Glaciers Earth Cache. It is behind Lake Louise, and you need to hike about 9 kilometers behind the trail. And most people, when they go to Lake Louise, they'll drive in, go to the parking lot, stand at the edge of the lake, take their picture, and move on down the Icefield Parkway. Well, we decided, we were vacationing with our children. We had just started geocaching, I think, the year before, and that was one of the places I looked at because I had found out that once you're back to this earth cache, the Plain of Six Glaciers, where glaciers come together back in behind Lake Louise, there is a tea house up there, an actual operating tea house, and it looks like a Swiss chalet. And I'm not talking Swiss chalet Canadian restaurant with chicken and ribs. I'm talking a Swiss from the country chalet. It's a 3-story building with a steeped roof that's for mountain and snow, and there is a team of students that work in this chalet, and they bake and make all the food that you're served and the tea and coffee. And we had these pieces of apple pie that were baked the day before,
So
huge, and it was awesome. And we found out from talking to them, they work 5 days a week, and then they hike out and carry 60 pounds of garbage with them. They hike out and go off for 2 days of break, and then when they hike back, they bring back 60 pounds of supplies. And in the beginning of the year, a helicopter drops a ton of supplies for the start of the year, and it was fabulous. And it was one of my son's most favorite moments of the trip, and he still remembers it to this day. And it was just enlightening to see the awe on his face when he was looking at the glaciers, and then like one piece fell off in front of us. It was like, wow. And we hiked 26 kilometers that day up and down the mountains, and it was fabulous. And that's one of my favorite. I have quite a few, but that is my absolute favorite.
That's an
cache.
amazing location. Wow.
Yep, I love it. As soon as I found the tea house, I'm like, brownie points. Oh, sorry, tea. tea.
I love tea houses.
Okay, I had a question up here, but I think, wait a minute. Oh, I lost it. Darn it. Our vehicles went Castle Northern, Garry Robertson. Somebody asked, oh, there it is. Waymarking. Nope.
I have.
Oh, you have.
So waymarking is vastly misunderstood. So have past tense, haven't since. I had to for a challenge way back. However, the challenge had me waymarking, at which point I understood why people misunderstand it. And for want of a better phrase is, when you geocache, you do what you need to do, you get your smiley, you move on, and you get your experience. Waymarking is a little bit more, it's effort, but at the same time, you don't have to collect them all. So in geocaching, people want to clear out the area around them. They want to get everything in that zone. With waymarking, you can just do what interests you. If you, for example, like coming across everyday objects that are huge, large boots outside of shoe stores or oversized sheep outside of a cuddly toy factory, you can choose a category, go and find all those things, and you're happy. But I think a lot of people look at waymarking as I have to get them all. This doesn't interest me. I don't want to see these 9 categories, because you're in a mindset that I'm supposed to get all these boxes. They're available to me. I'm supposed to fill them all in. And I realize it's not how you can get joy from that game. Mm-hmm. However, the game has not really, and the website's not really changed much in a very, very long time. And there's no real emphasis for people to learn more about it. I don't play it because geocaching is what I do. I don't find necessarily that they complement each other, because you're diluting your time between something else. But I understand why some people do like it. And it's a very handy reference for things now and again. But I've done it, and I think it's misunderstood. Most people will say, I don't want to go and see another McDonald's. Well, then don't go and search McDonald's category. Problem solved. But it's the box in the corner. So what? But everybody has the mindset they have to fill them all in. And that's not how you play the game, in my mind.
Yep. I've seen it. Friends of ours here in London have done it, and they still play it. And they've said, hey, you should try this, But I did look at it, and I'm like, whoa, I see a waymark really close to home. It's the bike rack at the Rexall drugstore. So? I don't know. Yep. I'm at that I don't want to dilute it stage. So here is one that people have mentioned. This is an Ontario virtual. It is also on our bucket list. Do you know which one this is, Roy?
Jimmy's Castle.
There you go. This was on our bucket list for last Labor Day, but unfortunately, we couldn't go. The airline shut down. We were going to fly into Jimmy's Castle. It's in northwestern Ontario, and you can either get to it by skidoo in the wintertime on ice, boat, or by plane. And we wanted so much to do the plane because it just sounded like fun. We know KBK did it. They did a video on it. And we might do it this coming August. Probably by boat, because the plane, we're going to look to see if they're operating by then. If they are, we'll take the plane. If not, we'll do the boat. Jimmy's Castle, amazing. Yes, that was. It's on our bucket list. Oh, we got a whole bunch of, everybody's doing that.
Scroll up and down.
Oh, okay, I don't want to say that. Okay, but don't click on that. Colin Simple. Oh, he just suddenly woke up. Okay, all right. There we go. I ran out of... Did I miss any?
I think we got most of them. I'm just double checking here.
Sounds like you have the same vehicle as Tupper T. Turtle.
Well, the last time I saw Tupper's vehicle, it was definitely not the same color as my vehicle. So
but
who knows? What has Tupper got since then?
But bright? I don't know.
Well, it was a bright green vehicle the last time, and I think I have a bright orange, so those two colors side by side, we just need two more to get the whole logo colors. But if they have bright orange now, way to go. Well, habanero red is the term for the color of my vehicle, is just so able to tell everybody.
I think we got it.
Oh, and look at that.
Oh, boat? I'm in. Oh, they want to go again. We're actually going to be geocaching with Dave Ferris and Cheryl at KBK in August, so they might join us on the boat if we went with the boat. They went there. They've already got it, but maybe Jamie doesn't. Lady Jamie might not have it. Dave, does Lady Jamie have Jimmy's Castle? I think she does, but they'll go back anyway. They're doing a 2-week trip, and I think we're going to be doing a week. We'll see if that works out. Yes. Hey, if we can find out if the float plane is running, and we can talk, we'll send you a note, because we could do either 4 people or I think 8. So we could add an extra pair.
That'd be great.
So, can I come? Sure. Let's have an event at Jimmy's Castle. Open it up. Yes, you can come. Come along. We're going to be doing the Sleeping Giant that Cache the Line did last summer. We're going to be trying it this summer. Hopefully, we're going to see. So let me know. Oh, I could be in too. David Stokes, another one of our patrons. All right, we'll let everybody know. We're going up in August. There you go. Do you have any, Roy? Yeah. Do you have any trips planned? I know you can't travel internationally per se. You could, but
so at the moment I don't, from a caching perspective. Last year I visited my 50th country, and my plan was to get to 100 over the next 20 years, and they would have had probably, now that 9 would have been in last May 2020 until this point in time. So I'm waiting with bated breath for the next time I can go on a geocaching cruise, because I enjoy those very much. And I have to reschedule my trip to the UK at some point, because one has to go to Scotland to take one's prepaid Scotch tour. But I'm not sure what the next caching thing will be. I have a WestJet travel credit, and I need to burn that up at some point in time. So we shall see. Maybe a trip further afield at some point. But as it stands right now, I have dusty passports for that way.
We have a credit for Swoop. So we're going to probably use that, I hope, in July. We're going to go to British Columbia. So anybody that's in BC will be heading your way. We'll probably have about 2 weeks. We won't be traveling really far. We're traveling to Kelowna. There is an Earth cache 4.5 hours north of Kelowna that we are very interested in. It is not Not a hard hike, not an easy hike. It will be probably the only thing that we do that day. It is an Earth cache with a rating that we do not yet have. So it's one of the 5 that we need to complete our fizzy grid for Earth caches. So we're looking forward to that. The other one in Canada that we can get is in Nova Scotia near the Bay of Fundy. I would go easily on a heartbeat, but we have to get Karen on board with that. So, and we are booking some. I booked reservations today for 2 nights in provincial parks for a road trip we're planning on the north shore of Lake Erie. Originally, we were planning a video series on circumnavigating Lake Erie, but obviously we can't do that right now, and it's not likely we're going to be able to do that any time soon. So I thought, well, I'll just do the top half, and then another series doing the bottom part. So, and then another road trip we're looking at is the west coast of Ontario, which would be up the side of Georgian Bay up to the Bruce Peninsula. So we're just trying to look at areas that we can get to that should be fairly interesting and come up with some really cool videos. And part of what our video is to do not just geocaching, but tourism. We're going to go wine tasting and take a look at Point Pelee, Pelee Park, Point Pelee. We've been to Pelee Island, so we'll mention it and reference our video that we've done before. And so we're trying to find the interesting places that you could go to that people might not realize along the north shore of Lake Erie, and there are quite a few. So that's what we have on the go.
There is a geocaching cruise I won't be going on because I've been to most of the places that it visits, and I think that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to is international travel, because I'd like experiencing the different countries and the cultures and the different foods. But yes, geocaching cruises. There are a few out there, but we've all traveled with a Landsharks cruise, and so they have them on their webpage. So I've traveled at landsharks.ca, but I'm not going to be making it to that one. I don't think. We'll see. And I think that a lot of the future plans at the moment, they're just optimistic things for me at the moment. So I have things in the back of my mind I would like to do at a point in time that it's easier to do so.
Yeah,
I hate getting my hopes up.
I think Landsharks has a European river cruise, right?
That's correct. The Danube,
in 22.
22, yes, September 2022.
Yeah. I've been asked about it. At this point, I said no. It wouldn't be completely out of the picture. I'd have to take a look at it again. But do you think that we would be ready for 22 international travel? I think it's possible.
Do not know, and I think that's part of my hesitation to be optimistic about planning things. At the same time, it's a really good time to book things in case it is okay, because the prices are quite good.
Yes.
If it all depends, I think, on how firm you are about your insurance approaches to things, because at this point in time, I think insurance has become a very useful thing for some people in some scenarios. So to be determined. In the meantime, I'm kind of on Canada lock, so to speak. So I'll work on where to go.
Yeah, we've pretty much established we're staying in Canada for probably this year at least. Lloyd Baker asks, will your geocaching increase with retirement or stay roughly the same one bucket? I'm pretty sure that once I actually retire, and we both retire, we will geocache a lot more. We will be traveling probably out of our van. I'm going to be outfitting the van as a camper, removing the seats and building in structures into the van this spring. So we're just waiting for the weather to warm up. So
I'm not sure I'm ever going to get to retire, Lloyd.
There's another video series for you. The building the Cache Canada van. Is this the last one? I'm not sure what did. Is it the last one? I don't know what he was referring to. Gold Country Geo Tour is really good for what I hear west of Kelowna. Awesome. I am looking forward to northwest of Kelowna, up in the mountains, not too far. I think it might be 45 minutes, is the Geo Art of the Bear chasing the person. And if you've seen GeoArch, you have to have seen that picture. It's there. And the bear GeoArt is made up completely of challenge caches. So you have to be able to complete the challenge caches to be able to log the cache. I think that is so cool. I've looked at a few of them already, and because we've traveled, so not as much as our esteemed guest, but we should be able to log all of the challenge caches from that. So, wrong date, September 22. I think that's for the cruise. Oh, wait, back up. Have you hiked the Bruce Trail, all or part of it? We've done parts of it. Roy, have you done Bruce Trail?
Come on, Gary, you see me.
You don't like to hike?
Well, Bruce Trail is a little bit, I'll hike, but there's hills on that there thing.
Yeah, I know.
I have done portions of it, and it's wonderful, but no.
We've done the Bruce Trail as far as pretty much where geocaches are. So where Carnegie Rule has placed challenge caches, we've done them. We've done that part. And what about GeoWare's geocaching trips? Are any of you interested in those? I've looked at them, but I haven't looked at them since. So we've all three of us have done, we've done one, Land Sharks. I would absolutely go back again. I wish we could have done the one in the Western Caribbean that went into the Panama Canal, but we didn't know it was coming. We were told there wasn't going to be a cruise, so we did our Southern U.S. tour instead. So that's the way it works. Oh, wait, okay, here we go. I meant the last Earth cache you needed for the Earth cache grid I am pulling for you. Okay. We will, as it stands right now, we will have to travel to the United States to finish our Earth cache grid. And we could fly into San Francisco and drive towards Reno, and we could do it all. There's 5 left that we need. We could get them all within 5 days. And they're a higher difficulty in terrain, but what I've looked at, they are not that hard. So they're hard as in difficulty, meaning you need to actually do something. You have to work for it, but terrain-wise, it's not that difficult. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get it. We are going to get it at some point. We're probably, if I had to choose between touring San Francisco and finishing the Earth Cache Fizzy Grid, which do you think is going to win? Okay, wait a minute. Well, this is an accidental delight stumble onto. I think that means coming onto our broadcast. Awesome. We're glad to have you.
Hi, Angela.
Garry Robertson, I had to ask.
Actually, it's funny, Gary. You asked that question, and then Colin reminded me of this. Yeah, I did that.
Did do the Fort Erie and Fort George hike, 45 kilometers. Oh, did you?
I forgot about that.
Oh, you've thought about it.
Oh, I forgot about it.
Oh, you forgot. We did it on bike.
Oh, I did it on feet.
Oh, we did it on bike with our kids. Our kids were 5 and 7, and we biked from Fort Erie to Niagara-on-the-Lake over 2 days. We stopped in Niagara Falls for the night.
It was a fantastic event. So the Blue Quasar had the event, and this was the punishment, was to walk that route. And if I remember correctly, I think I was perhaps one of the first couple of people actually to make it to the other end, to probably what was the most well-deserved fish and chips of my entire life.
It's not as rugged as the Bruce Trail is. It's all paved.
Hills.
Yeah, but
it's pretty flat, and you have to go down. You don't have to go up.
So it was 45.
And there are refreshment stands nearby. So
when was that event?
Oh, Colin, 2011.
Oh, okay, before our time.
Yeah.
And for those people who don't know, Colin Semple is the Blue Quasar, one of our patrons. And 2 weeks ago, our guest, he is one of the other reviewers for Ontario, CacheDrone. Okay. That's why I love the rail trail in our area, fairly level hikes.
As it should be.
Most rail trails are. The trains don't like hills. Question. Oh, here we got Brent Mackey. didn't see him before. How much of the backlog has been cleared?
A lot of it.
A lot. Big. Huge. Bigly.
The only things left are the things that are still in there.
I love
Like
this man.
finding the cache is always the last place you look, right?
Pinlight 97. Hi, Roy. Hey, what's your guesstimated ETA on events being a go? How I know I'm going to get a
we did
guarded
cover
answer.
that earlier, Angela.
Yes.
However, I have no guesstimate. It all depends on when there are no longer restrictions on gatherings. 55 kilometers. Can you check again? I'd love to be able to say I did 65. Just keep checking.
Just pulling your chain. I should have seen that response coming.
That's right.
All right, this is an awesome. We're on here 1 hour and 50 minutes, and you know what? I'm going to have to go. Keep talking. Say something.
All right. I'll keep doing things.
Going.
Just look for more things.
Yeah,
So
I have to check something, so just don't mind me.
I'm going to refer back again to Colin's event with the big hike, and I think one of the things that event showed me is that I could walk that far, and for me that was a big deal at the time. It still is a big deal now, trust me. And that's another thing about geocaching, that I got one smiley and it took me the entire day, but that was a memory which completely obviously skipped my mind for the time being, but it was a truly wow moment for me. Same as climbing the mountain for Mount Margaret for GCD, and that's probably why the game itself has had such an impact on my life. Is it's those moments that changed it. And everybody has their own currency of what gives them their own personal payoff as part of the game, and events, great people really miss that. And that's one of the aspects of the game that probably I'm hoping we'll dive right back into with gusto when we are able to, with all precautions necessary, etc., etc. And I do anticipate, hopefully, some really great community celebration events, because a lot of people have those events sat waiting to be released, so to speak. They've all been issued them by Geocaching HQ and no way to put them. So hopefully people can do something more than just a coffee shop meet, and then really do some amazing stuff to hopefully truly celebrate when the time comes.
Now we know why Brent Simrebel is not with us. The Leafs are playing.
Is he in goal?
No. He just loves there you go. He loves hockey. I think it's really interesting. I don't watch hockey. I've never really been into it, but I think it's interesting this year with the COVID that the Canadian teams are isolated to play amongst themselves. That is really cool.
Yep.
The venue that I used to host events at is now permanently closed. Oh, that must be the fun game place. Oh, that's sad. I miss the COG's monthly breakfast events.
As do I.
Yeah.
And truly, when we see these things happen again, it's going to be awesome. Oh, go Golden Seals.
There you go. Woo!
I'm looking forward to it.
Whoever they are. I've got the live stream on the big screen and the Leafs game on the phone. That's the way to do it.
Absolutely.
Cache Canada in big and the Leafs in small. Awesome. Woohoo! Yep, he says, yeah, that's sad. That's very sad. Yeah, unfortunately, I know I heard a comment about going to the cache, the one last March that they had the event, the Hides of March, that they said, oh, you can't go play the games because you've got to touch everything. And that was, I could see that happening. So, unfortunately. Yeah, Sarah. Oh, is that Sarah Garneau? Yes, that is. A year ago today was my last event, which was the Hides of March, and that's where the comment came from. Hi, Sarah. Little Spark from the Sparky crew. Awesome. One of our regular people that we go geocaching with. There you go. The Jets game on TV and Cache Canada on the phone. Oh, Must be a West Coast thing. That's the other side of Ontario. So I don't know. Eastern. Maybe the Jets are better than the Leafs. I don't know. I think the Leafs are leading. That last time I saw, the Leafs were on ahead. Oh, I have a private message.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go. I don't know if I can share that. There we go. No? Oh, he's just sent me that. Okay. Very cool. All right. He's showing me a
fine.
picture. He's showing me a picture. Here, I'll share it for you.
If you have
He's
a
showing-
private message, don't tell us about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Hang on, I'll share. He's sharing a picture of. Wait a minute. Can I do this? No, I can't. No, I can't share that because it's on Messenger. Maybe I can. Hold on. See what happens.
Just do it with interpretive dance.
Okay. Facebook. Share. What happened? There. Okay, I can. So he's sharing me a picture of his big screen TV. It looks just like the screen I'm watching us on. I see no difference. I guess it's big, though. It must be really big. Thank you, Doug. That's awesome.
Bigger than a red box.
Remove. There we go. All right.
That's awesome. Oh, I think we've got everything so far.
I think we have. So what we're going to do...
Scan back through.
I am going to take a list of all the people that have commented. I think I can do it this way. If I start here. From the beginning. Go all the way to the top. Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of people commented tonight.
Yes,
Great
we've had
response.
a great audience. Awesome. Very well done.
And now we know this works. We can do it again.
Yes.
Cheers, everyone.
I would love to do another Cache Shadows. Ask a question, get a relatively whatever. Okay, so what I've done, I have taken a screen capture of all the comments made by everybody that's been here. So that's how you win. You have to comment. Remove. Stop. There we go. And I'm just gonna. It's going to be a little labor intensive because and I'm going to put them in the wheel of names. I'm not going to share that vision because it's just really weird. But I'll spin it until I find a name, and then I'll put that up on the screen who wins. Because what it does is sometimes it'll pick a comment somebody made, and the comment wins. So anyway, it's the best I can come up with. So what are we giving away first?
Well, I have 4 of the CacheShadow tags, which I will happily send to somebody.
4.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I'll remove that. And we have 2 Cache Canada tags, so we have 4 prizes to give away. So we just wait. No. Remove. Spin. I'm just spinning the wheel and I'm getting comments. I'm not getting... And I don't know who... Sometimes I don't know who made the comment and who made... Will be a while. Hang tight.
That's all good.
You need some technical music on right now.
Do 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 do.
Not really sure that's an improvement, though.
Yeah.
There should be an app for that.
No.
It's all
We'll have
it's all
to
synced
work on
together.
Okay.
You do the harmonies.
Come on. Oh, there. Yeah. Stop there. Oh, look at that. Here we have a winner.
All right.
Hang on, I copy and paste. This is for a CacheShadow. No, we'll do a Cache Canada. This is for a Cache Canada tag. Here we go. And the winner is... Oops. Dave Ferris. There you go. Dave Ferris, you have won a Cache Canada trackable tag.
Congratulations.
Dave Ferris. No ifs, ands, or buts. Okay. Next one is for a Cache Shadow trackable tag. Here we go. It's the best music you're going to get out of me.
And that was good, actually. Yeah, that's tuneful.
And the winner is... We will change this. Garry Robertson.
Yay! Congratulations,
I nailed it,
Gary.
beastie. Jeez.
CacheShadow. There we go. Next one for a Cache Canada tag. We will take that out. Delete that. Boom. Put this one in, and it's, oh, look at this. This is for, oh, I think she was asking. And here you go. She is such a lucky lady. This is where what? What are we doing for? This is one of
You
yours.
said Cache Canada.
There you go. No,
I'll
I
get
said
one of
Cache
mine.
Canada, but she's getting 2 already.
So
And
I'll send
this
one.
is
There
why.
you
There
go.
you go. This is
There
for
you
Amy.
go.
Amy Mary. There you go.
Yay, Mary.
She gets a CacheShadow. There you go. And I'll hide that, and we'll spin again. Remove all instances. There we go. Can't win twice. Can only win once. Bing. Oh, remove.
I have a lot of stamps, Gary. Don't worry. You're worth it.
Love me tender, love me true.
You're my heart.
There we go. Come on. There we go. Come on. No. There we go. We have a new winner. Copy over here. Go to there. Take. Oh, nope. Sorry, that wasn't it. Paste. Enter. Show. There we go.
Yay! Congratulations.
That was for what? Did we say?
It would be the Cache Canada one.
Okay, Cache Canada. There we go.
Yeah, I think I've got mine already.
So Cache Canada. Okay, so 2 more CacheShadow tags. Okay, hide. Go over here. Remove. Spin. And it's coming up to. Oh, look at that. No, that's no good. That was not a good one.
We've got the play-by-play from Dave.
Yeah, play-by-play,
Yes,
and it's going
Gets
to.
the winners from the contest.
Okay, there we go. Oh, awesome. There we go. Copy. Boom, over here. Nope, don't show that. And paste. Enter. Show. There we go. Michelle
Yay!
Archibald.
Congratulations.
She wins
Lots of winners tonight.
CacheShadow. And we have
One more.
one more. Okay.
Yeah.
Hide. Clear. Delete. Spin. There we go. Okay, it's turning around, and it's slowing down and stopping, and it's going to stop at. No, that's no good.
You're supposed to just say it hasn't stopped yet.
Yeah, it's
while
going.
you re-click the button.
It's going. It's spinning. It's coming around. It's going to stop at. And no, it's still spinning.
No.
It's going. It's coming around. It's coming around. It's going. It's coming around. It's
Taking
going.
its time tonight.
And it's
Well,
coming.
that
It's
is
just
behind
coming
the
along a
scenes.
lot, isn't it? Yes, I know. It's just going and going and going and going. Ta-da, dee-dee. And we're going to stop at. Boop, boom. Nope.
Which
Boy,
all
it's taking its time.
Life decisions were made using
Yes.
those names.
Caught in a loop.
It's technical. It's very technical.
Sitting here with total anticipation.
Oh, Pinlight 96 says, 97 says,
Oh,
A and K in honor of winning a. That'll be quite a feat.
there we go. And the winner is Balking 649.
Well, there you go.
Yay!
Okay,
So those folks, if they want to go to CacheShadow's profile page and just hit the send email button, drop me a line and tell me where you would like me to mail your tag. In the case of Walking 649, I might just tell you where to pick it up. So we'll go from there.
And the other winners, I'm pretty sure I can figure out Dave Ferris and Andre, well, I will get in touch with you or send me an email at londonwesty@gmail.com. And if you ever have any questions for Cache Canada, you would like to know something about our channel, about videos we're doing, or you would like to suggest a cache for us to visit, please do. You can get a hold of us at londonwesty@gmail.com. So awesome. Very cool. What did I miss so far? Congratulations, everyone. Yes, I think the U.S. election was faster. Just like the Energy Bunny. Yep. Awesome. The suspense was killer. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Thank you, Roy, very much for joining us.
No,
That was
thank
awesome.
you. And thank you so much for the time and for everybody who's participated
Yep.
tonight. And I enjoy doing these because I prefer to be amongst the community so we can learn from each other, cross-pollinate ideas. So I will look forward to seeing everybody again. And well, Amy, just go to CacheShadow's profile page and hit send email and let me know where you'd like the tag to be sent.
Yeah.
So, and CacheShadow spelling's on the screen when that box goes away. And if you want to visit the COG Facebook group, you can just go to centralontariogeocaches.com or connectedontariogeocaches.ca, and they both take you to the same place. And that page also has some resources which are useful for any geocacher in Ontario. And also, please visit.
There you go. Ask a question, get a possibly accurate or even relevant answer. I think we achieved that today.
I think you did indeed.
It's awesome. It's very cool to have a lively interaction other than the Facebook questioning going back and forth.
This is a lot more
And
fun.
I am always, when I see this, I always try to send them a zinger or some actual question on geocaching that's on my mind.
The zingers are
Thank
fun.
you so much, Roy.
Yeah.
No, thank you for the
It's been great.
opportunity. It's been great. So again, everybody subscribe to this channel.
Awesome. Excellent. Yes, you can get us right here or go to patreon.com/CacheCanada to support us on Patreon. We'd love to have you. And we're coming up to our 1-year anniversary. We're going to be doing a mailing for all of our patrons and all the new stuff. We have a new trackable tag to give out this year, and our next path tag is coming in the mail. It's in production. So thank you, everybody, very, very much for coming out and watching us. And Roy, can we have you on again sometime?
I would be my pleasure.
Awesome. Excellent. We like doing these live videos. We did them last time we were in a lockdown. It was a way for us to be able to bridge that gap and experience doing live videos as well. It's not something that I was very used to, but I think we're getting better at it. It is a different experience altogether doing the live and trying to get the technical things all to work out and bring it to everybody and get an audience. And we had a great audience tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So, all right.
Okay.
We have been on for 2 hours and 7 minutes. We are going to say goodbye by doing our thing that we do on Cache Canada at the end of our videos all the time, all together now. Where will geocaching take you? Where will geocaching take you? Wow, that was done very well. See you, everybody.
Good night.